all right. So we're 1 day closer to hockey. August 1st, 4 p.m. start. Let's get a little bit into what's going on at camp. Yesterday, George Richards came out, yesterday, the day before, I think it was yesterday, and he basically said, you know, when I had originally done the first video about camp and they had the 4 lines there as far as during the scrimmages, you know, we're playing against each other, and my assumption was they were just mixing and matching things on a temporary basis to have split squad. But according to George and basically what Q is saying, that those are the lines. So, couple of things with that. Obviously, I'm stuck here because I love the second line with Huberdeau and Haula and Hoffman. I love that second line. I can't complain about that. Here's my issue. You've got Vetrano up on the top with Barkov and Dadonov, which leads me to what I said about Vetrano in the video I did yesterday. Frank Vetrano. You've got a hell of a nickname that Moeller gave you, Frank the Tank. Now, if you could just cut down on the stupid penalties. Alright, so that's my concern. I know Vetrano's a hard-nosed player. I know he's a shoot-first guy, and we need a shoot-first guy with Barkov. I totally get that point. But Vetrano, man, with the penalties, and every game, if he has to work too hard, he ends up taking the stupid penalties. So there's 2 parts to that. Number one, obviously playing against the other team's top line, if that's how the Islanders match up with us, Vetrano's going to have to work harder than he's used to without taking penalties. The other part to that is that Barkov, especially with Barkov, Huberdeau, and Dadonov, all of them, they don't really take a ton of penalties, although Huberdeau does take a few. But Barkov, every year, he's one of the league leaders in least penalties. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because you put, part of the reason why that top line is so successful is they don't cause a lot of penalties, and now you're going to put Vetrano with Barkov, which kind of is going to equalize out the fact that Barkov doesn't take any penalties, and then Vetrano takes too many, and then of course next thing you know you're on the PK and your top line is off the ice. So, but the options there aren't exactly thrilling. What else to do with that top line? I know Q had he had experimented with Hoffman up top, and that worked a little bit too, but I don't know if you want to put Vetrano and Huberdeau on the same line. I don't think their styles really match all that much. So Frank Vetrano, man, Frank the Tank, is going to get his shot on the top line. Like I said, I love the second line, which leads us to the third line. All right. So he's got Boyle in the middle there with Connolly and Wallmark. And I've not been a huge fan of Wallmark. I know he only had 7 games here. And I know, I looked at the stats, looked at a couple of things, and because I would prefer Toninato over Boyle. I think he's, obviously a younger guy. He's got more skill. He's faster. But apparently, from what Boyle is saying, that line's role is going to be to check and play hard, which, okay, all right. During the playoffs, you need that, except for one point, and I've made this in a previous video. I don't know how hard the play is going to be. I don't know how much checking there's really going to be, especially in this first round, because guys are not physically ready, right? They're not physically in the middle of the season where they're, they've been playing for a while and their bodies are hardened. So I would prefer to see a third line with Toninato, Sorella, and then Connolly. But the couple of things I saw in the stats where Coach, obviously more than just experience that Boyle has over Toninato, the stats bear out they're pretty much the same player statistically, with the exception of penalty minutes. Toninato takes a ton. Boyle doesn't take very many. So as much as I would love to prefer to see Toninato out there, let's just cross our fingers and that Boyle finds the fountain of youth for about a month and a half, because he was just so damn slow on the ice. And I know we need a hard-working line, but that usually is the fourth line. And today's NHL, you need a third line that's going to score. And I just don't see it coming from that line. I think you're pretty much wasting Connolly on that line. And that's not to disparage Wallmark. I would rather see Cirella. Now, of course, Wallmark has a bunch more experience. Well, I think it was 167 games. Cirella has the 7 or 9 when he was with us, and that's it. And what's interesting is Wallmark's 24, Cirella is 23. So that kind of shows you the difference in, you know, the styles between the Panthers and other teams that bringing up the young players sometimes. Wallmark's got 167 games. That's what, 2-3 seasons worth basically, and Cirella is just now getting his shot. So he apparently is the 13th guy. He's the next man up, which is going to really piss off a lot of people, because that means, yes, everybody, Mark Pysyk would be playing wing with Cirella on the bench. Now, that fourth line, you can't complain about it with Achari, Sevior, and geez, I knew I was going to forget a name. I was just freaking talking about it a second ago with Pysyk. Sorry, guys, it's early in the morning. Now, that fourth line has had success together, so there's really nothing to complain about that. Would you like to see Sevior sit on the bench and put Cirella in? You know, I don't really know that that's going to be the answer there. I think Cirella is just a victim of numbers right now, and the fact that Wallmark has that much more experience. So, really, I think those are the lines that we're going to go with. Of course, Q did mention, hey, you know, basically what he says is, I'm going to give these guys about 5 minutes, and if they don't score, I'm going to change the lines. So it all can be for nothing. We saw that during the season, right? He'd change the lines every third shift. If it wasn't working, I assume we're going to see some of that. But I would have preferred to see Cirella make the 12-man roster there, you know, make the game day roster, just because I think he gives you some more flexibility to move him up and down the lineup if you need somebody who might be able to, you know, add some speed and some scoring to the game. So, all right, that's about enough for today. Make sure you watch the video. I made it a couple days ago. All right, it's the 20 ways the Florida Panther players can improve. And if you like that one, I got one coming tomorrow that's going to be the top 10 things about the Florida Panthers that piss me off, and maybe I'll include one that makes me happy. They might actually be the same thing, something that pisses me off and makes me happy at the same time. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.